welcome. Good night, everyone. Welcome, everybody. Come on
Welcome,
in.
everybody. Welcome.
Come on in, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another broadcast. We're going to get started in a few seconds. Welcome. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Bless up on yourself. Bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up.
Come on in, guys. As you're coming in, please go ahead and share. Share, share, share. If you're catching the replay, you know the drill. Team replay over here. And if you're live, say I am live. Hi.
Big up yourself, Team Christian.
Welcome. We have a special gift for you, see?
Don't worry yourself, man. We got you. We
We
got you.
got you, girl. Thank you for being early. Well, I keep saying early,
Yeah.
but you're
Yeah.
early. Welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you for being on
Yes, yes,
another
yes,
night.
yes,
Thank
yes,
you, thank
yes.
you, thank you. Welcome. How are you? It's good to see you. It's good to have you. We're so excited to be on tonight,
Yes,
guys. We
yes.
are very happy to be on talking about another topic that is very, very important to the union aspect, the marital affair, the singles affair. If you are wanting to go down the road of marriage anytime soon, sorry. But tonight, before we go any further into the topic, we want to just quickly introduce ourselves. And this is the channel when two
To
become
become one.
one.
Man,
Hope things work out great for us. Yes, we're
definitely,
praying. And
definitely.
if you have any challenges, please reach out to us. Please let us know, okay? Because you don't want to wait until after and then we'll say, no, but that could have worked out. So tell us if you have any challenges. So welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Like the live, double tap the screen, go and share at least to two people on your social media, your
Yes,
status, whatever
yes.
it is. So this is the channel again, when two become one. We are live on Mondays and Thursdays, and we're all about healing marriage, passion, and purpose. And on Monday nights, we have guests who are from all over the world talking about topics that you won't hear in church.
Yes.
Right? But they are needed for the body of Christ and for those who are unsaved as well. And so this is my husband beside me, who is the co-host and the founder of this platform. And you are good, sir.
Yes, I am. My name is Anthony Bogles.
So yourself.
Welcome, guys. Welcome. A marriage and a relationship speaker. Big up on
Amen.
yourself. Big up,
Big
big up,
up, big
big up.
up. And I am a trauma and relationship specialist. I specialize in trauma healing and recovery, trauma healing for relationships, those who've gone through terrible, tormenting childhoods and are now having problems or challenges in relationships in their adulthood. And so the healing process enables us to have great relationships and to function in purpose in life. And so tonight we want to look on the topic emotional promiscuity. And I know that many people may not have heard that term. I believe that term was introduced to me by you.
Yes.
Yes, emotional promiscuity. I don't think I've ever heard it like that. But I was blown away based on what I found out about it. And we hope that you really stick around until the end to dive in deep, because this thing works against us because of a particular reason. And so we're going to dive into it. Um, you may take the floor and open up with your
Hallelujah. Yeah,
intro.
it's a thing. Emotional promiscuity. I feel like everybody has gone through that in some point in their life. I know I have. It's something that you know it's not widely talked about.
Yeah.
It's more of a lifestyle, if you should say. And so, because you grow up, you might grow up in a society where, and that was especially in this dispensation. People are just living what they learn.
Yeah.
You're from a particular community. You live what you learn. You see it on the TV. It's a lifestyle
Yeah.
based on what you're seeing around you. And so, being emotionally promiscuous is just over expressing yourself in a very quick manner. When it comes to your emotions, your feelings, and it's not necessary, especially if it's not necessarily somebody that you're quote unquote married to, or
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
that is you're close to getting married to.
Yeah.
So you overshare, you over
Okay.
express your emotions and your feelings. And again,
Yeah.
when I use the term where I'm saying I've been there, but in my situation it was more of a form of manipulation.
You're manipulating people out in the
Yes,
streets.
yes, and I think we spoke about it,
Yeah.
in a way. But
You hear that, guys? You hear what he was doing? Emotionally manipulating people in out
yeah, it's a
there.
tactic. It's a
Is
tactic
that tactic for men,
that
or
men,
that was
yeah,
just you?
yeah, men. But it's just a name. You never have a name for
That
it.
cute
So
term.
yeah, so it's more of it's in my situation. It was more of expressing myself to break down boundaries. So you say certain things, you share
Take
certain
notes.
things.
Take notes, ladies.
Yeah, to play on a person's emotions, a person's thought process, to break down that boundary, and to kind of test the waters in a sense.
Okay.
So I'm sharing emotions, saying things, that she might want to hear. Um, and in return, you're pretty much breaking down guards and boundaries that that person might set. And just seeing where you can get
Right. Right.
in
So,
that situation.
okay. And thanks for sharing that. But
Yes.
because that is insightful, and sometimes we need to hear these things coming from the horse's mouth. Um, two questions. Are you talking about when you are a single man?
Yeah,
And
yeah, way before marriage, man. Way when
okay.
I was out there running the streets.
Okay. And are
Yeah.
you talking about is this only done by men, or is this done by women?
No, it's pretty much done by both
Both
both sex.
genders. Okay.
Yeah, both genders.
Okay.
I can only speak on my, but I do know there's a lot of females
That do it too.
that falls in that situation. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. And one of the main questions we want to start with, guys, is I want you to think about this very seriously, because, it's good to come on a platform and, hey, Sam, blessings,
Hey, Samantha.
and get great information.
Emotional scammer.
Team Christian. Straight up.
Oh my
But I
God.
want you guys to think about this really carefully, even for those who are married. Because sometimes we believe that married people don't fall into these traps too, and many times we do.
Yes.
And so I want you to think about this question. Who do you turn to first with your emotions? For singles and for married people who are on the platform tonight, who do you turn to first with your emotions? And if it is not your spouse, if you're married, if it's not your spouse, then we want to encourage you. This is not to bash you or to, say, pretend like, oh, this don't happen on this side. I want us to really navigate and start to tell ourselves it is okay to do the hard work. If you want to stay married and stay married right, if you want to get married and get married right, it is okay to do the hard work. It's okay to do the hard work. And so we're talking about him when he was single and when he was out there. Pretty much, I guess you were unsaved at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were running the streets, and your emotional promiscuity may not have ended up in I don't want YouTube to flag us, but did it always end up into intimacy with these people who you scammed emotionally? I'm using Team Christian's term. The emotional
Most
hacking.
times, most times.
Most times? Okay.
A lady, you normally you hear a person says, or a woman says, she likes someone that's emotional, likes to share his emotions and all of that type of stuff. So sometimes, or most times, what I got was, you're the first person that has ever been so
Open and
open
deep.
and so deep with your thoughts and your
Okay.
emotions
Okay.
and all that type of stuff. Most men that I've met, they're hard and tough
Yeah.
and they're rough. When you talk about holding and how you caress my hands
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the things that you're saying.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
I get you. So okay. So I'm seeing a two-part to this now, ladies, because One, I am seeing now the
Yeah.
manipulative part of pretending that you're open and deep and available and connected, and you can tap into the feminine side for men. So there is that part to it where being promiscuous emotionally comes with a level of pretense. And then there's the other side where you can be doing these things and you're not aware that it is oversharing and being
Yes.
too available. Whether you're married or you're not married, you can be too available emotionally, especially if this is with someone who is not your spouse or your long-term partner. And so when we talk about long-term partner, we're talking about people who you plan to get married to. So let's go back a little bit because we kind of jumped the
Yes,
gun.
we definitely did.
So what is emotional promiscuity? And we want to first of all give this definition. I believe this was a beautiful definition that I saw. It says it is a desire for the thrill and chase and connection to those who are not your committed spouse. So it's kind of like three parts. So the first part again is it is a desire, and I want you to think about this even if you are married. It is a desire for thrill and for the chase and connection to those who are not your committed spouse or partner. So this person could just really make you feel nice, and your spouse is not the one who you run to with your emotions first. Like there were days when probably you and your spouse in a heated argument, and the first person you think of who you want to share this thing with is somebody else. And
Yes.
again, we're not here to tear anybody down because we've all been there. But we're here tonight to offer some practical tools. How do we now get to the hard work of keeping that safety in the relationship between you and your spouse or your partner? So the next part of that is it is seeking to be validated, comforted in words by another. It is not just about the physical cheating. It's not about that. Emotional promiscuity is about hiding from your partner this validation that you're getting outside of that person.
Yes.
And the other aspect of it is it's not about the physical cheating, but it's about giving away emotional intimacy, information that rightfully belongs to a spouse or to a committed partner.
Yes.
So let's do some soul searching tonight. Do you have an emotional partner who is not your committed partner or spouse? Let's do some soul searching. And we like to call them work husbands and work
Wives.
wives,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And church husband. Oh, anybody have that term? Church husband and church wife who are not your committed spouse. There are some people who have agreed that hey, we will never be together, but we will just always be there for each other. And it's a hard boundary to create, especially if this person has been there for you. It's very hard. And so tonight we want to explore some of the hard work that we'll have to do to regain the trust and safety and to put it back what you have given to somebody else. So, promiscuity emotionally is a silent threat. It is a silent threat, and it is considered to be that. I don't know why do you think they call it the silent threat? Before I even go into that, I don't know if you want to share your thoughts on why was this silently a threat? Even when you
Ah,
were there, why was this a threat silently?
I would say because again, a lot of times it's not something that is on the forefront of your mind. It's if that's something that you're used to. Let's say like for me,
So sorry. So I want to differentiate. On the forefront of your mind, so this would be the version of, let's say you're just used to doing this versus the manipulative part.
yeah,
Okay.
used to. I want to say used to doing it. I would say when I say not on the forefront of your mind, is because you might, and we talk about person that we say, listen, you should heal before you get into
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah,
Heal, heal.
yeah.
You have
Ideally.
persons with attachment styles. things that they have learned based on their parents,
Oh yeah.
like those little things that they have soaked up like growing up, and
Yeah.
it can be toxic sometimes. And
Like the
so
oversharing and stuff.
and so not just the oversharing aspect, but just being in a space where the attachment style might be, you learn a certain type of
Right,
a way
right.
of loving and caring and whatever it is, and it might not be in a healthy way.
Yeah.
You understand? And so persons have soaked up that unhealthy habit,
Right.
and they're not conscious of it. So it's like a way of life. So you bring that into
Yeah,
relationship
yeah.
where no oversharing is normal to you, because
Right, right,
you
right.
might not have the knowledge. Say, listen,
Oh
this
yeah.
is not right. You understand?
It's not right.
But it's
Boundary. Yeah.
but it's like the norm for you. So you're oversharing. You're giving details about some intimate stuff, and
Yes, yes.
you're not
Yeah.
realizing, okay, this is not it's not healthy.
Right.
But it's based on what you have learned,
Yeah.
and you can have pity
Yeah,
on those
yeah,
on
yeah.
those persons. You understand?
That's true.
So back to what you're saying. Um, in that way, I believe it is silent because you are not aware of it.
Okay. So in that
In
context, we
that context,
see
yeah.
the silently threatening the
But
health
it is
of a
dangerous.
relationship, but it's
Yes.
dangerous. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
dangerous. And I guess I'm talking from a place of being single, like from a single place.
And I believe
But
even married
in
people,
marriage, yeah.
because I remember I met a young lady, and this was not a male female or the opposite sex. We were both women, and we were not interested in each other that way. But the first thing she said to me was, "Hey, I was molested."
Oh,
And that was her way of, like, everybody she met, she told them these things. And it's not in the sense of desiring a relationship, but it was I don't want to say promiscuous or flirtatious, because there's no gain, but this was the oversharing aspect of her emotional state, where everybody she met, she just told them these things. And somebody had to, like, really talk to her that this is not the right way. You don't just meet people, because men will come along and you will share these things, and somebody will begin to trauma bond and stick to you in an unhealthy way, because this information, sometimes people use this and weaponize it against
yes,
you to say, oh
yes,
yeah, you were.
yes.
And then like somebody who may come along like what you were doing, you would probably accommodate the conversation and have you sharing all of your life story, and then they would tap into it a little bit and share some little things too, and boom, you're in a relationship with this person. But what they did, they basically scammed you out of your emotions. They played on your vulnerability and the manipulation. And this is where we see some people who have values but don't learn boundaries.
Definitely.
They have values, but they don't understand boundaries with those
Yes.
values, and they fall prey to compromise a lot of times.
Yes.
So that is a very, very good point
And
regarding the silent
and
threat.
the other and in another way where it's silent
Right.
is, being married. You're in your marriage, you're going through whatever it is that you're going through,
Yeah.
and then you find yourself just confiding in
Oh
somebody.
yeah, yeah.
And you're
Yes.
looking at it, oh, it's not a big thing, but the more you're doing that over time, and the person now becomes that safe space. The person
Yes.
becomes that little shoulder, that little friend. I'm a little
Yeah.
friend, man.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is that the more you're sharing, it's almost like, they always use this term like the person that you borrow from now becomes your,
Yeah. Like the master
like,
over
yeah,
you.
the master
Yeah.
over you.
Yeah.
So the more you're
Yes.
pouring in your emotions into that person,
Yeah.
it's like that person
Still is
becomes
no.
becomes that master
Yeah.
over you, master over your emotions, because that's where you're
The
sowing,
soul
you're
was-
sowing,
yeah.
you're sowing that emotion, and
Yeah.
so gradually, it's getting deeper
Yeah.
and deeper and deeper
Getting
and
thicker.
deeper. Yeah,
Yeah.
and over time you find yourself in this whole hullabaloo, and you're like, how did I get here?
Yes. Yeah.
You understand?
Very important.
How do I get here? So
Very important
that's another
point.
level of silence.
That's very good.
Yes.
And it's why it works. Why does this thing work? Why do we get married, or we're not yet married, but this thing is such a big thing in many relationships. So many relationships are going through this, where even if you have an argument with your spouse, or you're having a bad day, or something good is happening, the spouse is probably the second person to know, or to for them to get that information. And this dynamic exists so often. Why does it work? There's a reason why it is working. There's a reason why it is a silent threat. And it is because most people don't realize they're doing it.
Yes.
Most people don't realize that they are framing the subtle intimacy with somebody else. They don't realize that the person who is available to their needs are there as this intriguing object, this being, this force, this point of contact. It's intriguing, and to know that somebody soaks up what you say. Remember, there was a study that I was looking at regarding infidelity and the whole works. And the study presented the information that by competition, the spouses have already lost.
Yes.
When a man compares a side chick to his wife, the wife already lost. And I'm remembering a video where I saw a side chick, the wife say, babe, the husband said, babe, come and drop off my lunch by my workplace. But it was raining. And the wife said she can't come out because rain, it was raining, it was pouring heavily. And the side piece walk out in the rain and a pat her ear, and she step out in her heels without umbrella.
Yes.
Without an umbrella. She was walking in the rain with that meal because that was her role. Like, she was into it and she was so zoned in. So the study said that by competition, wives or spouses or husbands have already lost this race. Why? Because it is somebody you've already lived with for years. She has nothing to do. That's why she went in the rain. She want 2 lick, right? She want more than 2 lick. Girl walk out, Team Christian, like walk out good. And when she walking, she mother, she pat the ear in the rain. Because wifey says she not going, she's staying in. And so society always presents wives as this, or husbands as this conservative, laid back. And many times it's true because we get used to. And so these are the loopholes that allow slip throughs, at the cracks, to allow other people to become that safe shoulder, that safe haven. And now us, or we, and then sometimes the spouses, find people who them ears can't eat grass. Like, the wife don't have no time to listen, the husband don't have any time to listen, or there's not much validation or appreciation in the marriage, especially for men. Men love to be appreciated. And so when somebody come and say, oh, thank you for doing that. Again, I heard somebody teaching young ladies how to take a married man. And this was an established channel that was teaching, this was a big platform, teaching young ladies, unmarried young ladies, how to be emotionally promiscuous and then ultimately become physically unfaithful, or have this person become physically unfaithful with them. And she was teaching strategies how to do it. One of the tips was doing something that the wife wouldn't do or the spouse wouldn't do. For example, I had a flat tire. What do you suggest I do about that? She know if I fix her tire. But what she was doing is she was putting the man, in this case it was the guy, she was putting the man in a position of authority. She studied the psychology of men.
Yes.
She knew that where wives would not validate, these young ladies were out there planning. And this was the aspect you're talking about regarding learning what the women need and hacking. Is like emotionally hacking this system.
Yes.
A lot of people are doing it willfully. A lot of people are doing it deliberately. Manipulation at the highest level.
Even in the church.
Even in the church.
Yes.
And then she said when she did that and he gave her tips, the girl said she already knew what to do. But she allowed him to talk. Because she know that when he goes home, his wife is doing the talking. And so she said when he spoke and told her what to do, she was like, oh my, I didn't think about that. Thank you. And she thanked him, and she presented herself in her feminine role, and the man was melted because wow, somebody actually want my advice, somebody actually see
Yes.
me as the savior, or I can fix something and I'm appreciated for it. And a lot of men fall prey to this. So the safe shoulder, the safe haven, the shoulder to lean on, the information sharing, the appreciation, the validation, these are the things that your spouse is looking for. And so when other people give it to them, whether by you don't know that it's happening, maybe the person genuinely don't realize they're
Yeah.
doing that.
Yes.
And all of a sudden your coworker become your work husband because they don't realize they're feeling something you always needed. And some people, you tell them a one issue and they now know you need it.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
so,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah. Perfect example.
yeah. And then after a while, they consistently feed you what you need. And sometimes this lead to physical infidelity. Started from the emotions. So it works because sometimes people don't realize they're doing it. And the other part of it is it works because these people realize you're giving away something that is not belonging to them. It belongs to your spouse. And most times we hide it from the spouse. Most times we're nurturing these relationships. And your partner don't need to know because I hear a little safe bubble that.
Yes.
That's your safety.
Time to go to work.
Dying to go to work. You're just at go work. You go to work, your outfit well laid.
Yes.
Your hair is well done. And you're just dressing to fit the part of hey. And let me tell you, sometimes you really don't want a physical relationship. You just like to go and realize that somebody just likes you. Because when you're at home, you don't get any compliments. Or your spouse does not take the time to zone in on what you're wearing or what you smell like, your
Yes.
fragrance, or how your hair looks because they see you so much
Compliment.
times.
Compliment. You're not giving any
Yeah.
compliment.
So the
Yes.
study said that by competition, your spouse has already lost. You can't compete wife to side chick. You cannot compete husband to side man, because they are, first of all, a lot of times we're not leaving our spouses, but at the same time, there are little voids that you're seeing. That you're saying, oh my God, I wish that you were like so and so and so. But you're not saying it, but you're thinking it. You're thinking it and you're desiring it. But you can't say it out because you know that's going to put you in problems. So by competition, your spouse has lost. It's not fair to compare them to these people.
Yes.
Because those people are new flames, you'd say. So the best way to deal with that is to put out the flame.
Definitely. You know,
Out the
that
flame.
is why it's so important to have these conversations
Yeah.
in your marriage. It's so important to share whether it's you're feeling some type of way about this, you feel like you're not getting this. Like
Yeah.
it's important, and I'm not gonna say by you sharing one or two times the person is just gonna
Gonna
get
get
it.
it, yeah.
But it's worth a try. You understand? And I always say, you might be in a marriage where you are not experiencing certain things because it was never something that was big on the list.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand? You're not. Let's say you and your spouse you have met and you've been together for let's say we all just met and he was buying you flowers. Then get used to each other. You stop buying you flowers and you were cool with that.
Yeah.
You're just getting used to it and you just go along, go along, go along. And it's something that I've seen before.
Yeah.
Can be on the internet.
Yeah.
Because I've heard a story that happened, in close proximity, somebody that I knew. She was at work, and so I think it was whatever occasion. I don't remember what was the situation, but randomly a bouquet of flowers came to the job, and it was for her friend. And I promise you, she saw that, and it was hullabaloo, man. She went home. Why you don't buy me roses? Why you don't do this? Why you don't do that? And the person
To her spouse?
yeah, to her
Okay.
spouse, and he's there saying like, where is this from? So you know that internet plays a big role in that
Yeah.
sometimes. You know, you're there seeing your friends getting this and getting that certain type of treatment, your person buying them this, buying them that. That's a form of manipulation also.
Right.
Because no, because you're at a vulnerable place where something, there might be a void inside, or
Yeah.
you know, you
Yeah.
just randomly see something and it sparks a little thing that has now manipulated your mind, where you're now leaving to go home to make a big deal.
But you maybe probably never have told the person.
You understand,
Yeah.
but you have never went and said, listen, Hosey, you know,
I
I
like
want this,
flowers.
yeah, I want this to be a part of our thing.
Yes.
You know, I like when I get flowers, I like when I get this, just out of the blues.
Yeah. Like a trigger.
You
Yeah.
understand? Because
And you know, it's not the flowers the person need, you know. Either the flowers, but them I use the flowers as the point of reference. Yeah, like you rightly said,
yeah,
fill in the voids
yeah,
that you really have.
yeah, yeah, you know, it could be, but
Yeah.
have these conversations. Let it be known, like, babe, like this is what I like.
Right.
This is that, and you
Absolutely.
share, um, whatever it is that Sometimes we can jump to, you know,
Yeah.
conclusion. We can jump to certain thought process along a certain line where we
Yeah.
feel like, okay, it's a dead stock thing. He's not doing this. He's not. But all it took, or all it takes, is just for you to go and say, "Listen, babe,
Yeah.
let this be a part of our life now. Let this be a part of our journey."
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you understand? So
And that's a good point because that's
yeah,
one of the tips that are there. That's there. We're
yeah.
gonna look at some examples of emotional promiscuity. What does this look like? Because you know we go through the introduction, we like to lay out the conversations like this, guy, so you can follow
Yes.
step by step. So connection is great. I don't like to, or we don't like to just talk all over the place and ramble. We like to go through the stages of, okay, we started with the intro, then the body, then to give you the tips. So right now we're in the body. So we want to give you some information regarding some examples of emotional promiscuity. You're probably saying, I'm not doing that because I'm not physically with anybody, so I'm not cheating. But your spouse probably saying it still hurts. If this person ever find out, it's still going to bear tremendous weight negatively on your relationship.
But I just want to add though, emotional promiscuity is a form of cheating,
Cheating. Yeah.
because you're now emotionally invested in somebody else.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be based on intercourse.
Right, right.
You're it's in that level of intimacy, that level of emotional intimacy is really in putting your feelings into somebody, and that person creating a safe space for you.
Yeah, yeah.
That can lead to something
Bigger.
deeper.
Yeah.
So that is
So,
definitely a
yeah.
form of
Yeah,
of cheating.
form of
It's almost like
cheating.
when we say watching porn.
So basically, not to go too fast.
Yes.
So basically, what you're saying is, though you may have never cheated physically, are you cheating emotionally without realizing it? Because you still took something that belonged to your partner and gave it to somebody else. That part of you that really belonged to your spouse, who you pledged to, or if you're not married as yet, you're in a relationship with this person, committed to that, and you took those information, your feelings, and harvested and reaped from another person. So that
Emotional infidelity.
emotionally, so
Infidelity.
infidelity.
Yes.
So that is something really, really, really important we want to look at. And again, let us really seriously soul search. The question that is there, I don't think I pinned it, but who do you turn to first with your emotions? Guys, go ahead and like the live, please. Like the live, like. You're helping the algorithm to push out the video, to help another marriage, to help a couple, to help a family get back on the right track. That's your part in this work, okay? So this is kingdom work. Now, again, who do you turn to with your emotions first?
Yes.
Now, some of the ways that you may be emotionally promiscuous is, number one, we talk about the oversharing personal struggles or secrets. They are your secrets. They are your secrets for you and your wife. They are the secrets for you and your husband. And if you're in a committed relationship, you're not yet married, are still your people them secret, not for others. Once you are sharing these things that you should share with your man or your woman, you are in the category of emotional unfaithfulness. especially if you are intentionally nurturing that relationship, who you're sharing with to that person. So if you're nurturing this and your spouse can't know about the fact that you and the person talk, I don't know, like this, it is a form of cheating.
Yes.
Or,
But I just
go
want
ahead.
to, yeah, before you go on ahead, I want to touch on the single persons also, because I'm guessing there are persons that are single. Um, Emotional promiscuity, right? And as again we say, we always talk about, you're not sharing, you're deep sharing stuff, you're
Yeah.
sharing stuff deep, from deep within, emotional this and whatever it is that you're going through. You can be oversharing with somebody that you're not married
Yeah.
to. You can be oversharing with somebody that you have just met,
Mm-hmm.
and
Very
the
important.
ripple effect of that for a lot of person, because growing up, especially you're growing up in the church, they always say, listen, stay away from sexual sin, stay away from sexual
Yeah.
sin, stay away from this. But being in that aspect of sharing, oversharing deep thoughts and feelings and desires,
Yeah.
it can lead to the sexual part.
Right, right,
You
right.
understand? It can lead there, and that is why it's so important. You have to be careful. We talk about, I normally hear you say, you don't just love with your heart, you love with your
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
You understand? There are things that you have to reserve in that
Wow.
process when it comes to courtship, dating or
Yes.
whatever it is you want to call it. You can't just meet
Yes.
somebody and just sharing, because I guarantee you, if
Wow.
that relationship does not work out, it's almost like you were married and you got a divorce. Meaning
Explain
that
that.
meaning that when that person, or if that person should walk away, it's
Oh.
gonna hurt. It's almost like you
They
were
took a
married to
part
that
of
person,
you.
that they took a part,
Yes,
that
yes,
you're
yes.
finding it hard to get over that person because of how deep you were
You went with
invested
them.
with the information that you have shared.
Wow.
You
That's
understand?
good.
Especially some information that you might not have shared, like with a random person.
Yes. That's a good point.
And a lot of times, we talk about the healing aspect, not being healed, trauma, how your love pattern was
Yeah.
when you were growing up and all that type of stuff. And so you meet somebody that you constantly find in yourself, different persons.
Yeah.
You constantly find in yourself just sharing deep things, sharing deep these deep aspect
Yeah. Yeah.
of of your life. Oh my God.
It will come back.
You
It will
you
come
you
back.
find yourself sharing deep things when it comes to your emotions, that I don't like this.
It will come back. It will
Guys,
come
sometimes I'm
back.
talking, my mind is just,
You're trying to say
everything is
a
just
lot of
coming.
things, right?
Yeah, the things are just coming. But
If you remember, you can
yeah, I
just, I mean,
definitely gonna remember. I
yeah.
just need to slow down. My brain is just,
Because that's a really good point though, and what is coming back to me, I didn't realize the link between even this, why a lot of times we fall prey to compromise through emotional connection and giving so much to people who maybe we not even in a relationship with. We're just giving information because there is a principle with the law of sound. So important. Guys, share this live. There is a principle that falls under the law of sound. Last night I was listening to sound professionals who, because of I sing as well, so music, I was learning that through speech you basically change the molecular structure of the body.
yes.
Your speech can change the physiology of someone's body. Your speech, your words can change the hormones that are released in someone's body.
Yes.
And so that is why traumatic words or negative words bear a heavy blow on the body. And that is why things that people say to you, for example, emotional, manipulative stuff, your response, you can actually activate a false sense of reward, and then you go seeking this person. You go home and you can't stop think about them. You go sleep and you're dreaming about them because their words are alive. The sound professionals say that the words that are spoken, the sounds and waves and frequency that were given from the foundation of the earth, they've never totally disappeared. Can you imagine that? So they have reduced,
Yes.
but they've not gone away fully. They have come down to a lower level. But hertz, and if you guys know about hertz, so you know this thing about when you play something at 440 hertz, it actually affects the human body, tears
Yes.
down the components of the human body. And there are some things that are said a certain way. For example, how people whisper things to you, and it changes the structure of your body. It is powerful. Now you understand why the Bible talks about the power of the tongue. The words that we say, they're actually changing the structure, the waves that control the electromagnetic fields of life.
Yes.
Can you imagine that, guys? Do you now know why we ought to speak good things? Do you now see why the Bible says, let your conversation be seasoned with salt?
Yes.
Don't speak idle words. Don't just out here talking things that are not going to go anywhere, especially if you know you're not serious about what you're saying. Because they affect the human body, the structure of the body. They even did a study on how words affect water, how words affect plants. And plants would die based on negative words that were spoken in the environment. We can't see it with the naked eye, but it is actually impacting the decibel, the vibration, the frequency that is coming out because of the words that we speak. It comes with the magnetic. I
Yes.
don't know all of the terms, but the electromagnetic field is being manipulated by words. It's manipulated by words. I could go deeper, but let's stop here. Number, go
But
ahead.
yeah. I don't know if this is the line that I wanted to go to,
Okay.
but I'm going to
Share.
connect this with
Okay.
it also. Yeah, so you know, based on your unhealthy attachment styles growing up, and so what you do, you know, you find yourself in something where it might not be healthy for you.
Yeah.
Because as we were talking about in the first part, it's not something that it's something that you've become more accustomed to. You know, it's like the norm. Especially you have parents that are not, you know, based on how they used to treat you. You know, they're toxic.
Yeah.
You understand? Because what I've come to realize and I've learned is that persons they don't love what they know. They love what's familiar,
Right.
right?
First and foremost.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
they love what's familiar. So you meet somebody with a toxic trait or a certain behavior, you know, you're sharing
Yeah.
this with this person, and you know you're seeing little things that reminds you of your
Yes.
attachment style, you know, your parental attachment style.
Yep.
You understand? And so what that does is that it keeps you stuck in that situation.
Right.
You understand? We're not even talking about the intimate part yet.
Right.
You're stuck because you have no kept this person around longer
Then they should have
than they
stayed.
should.
Yeah.
And so this is no longer about meeting somebody that you know, oh my God, he checks off the box and
Yeah.
whatever it is. What you're now doing is now you're fighting to keep this person
Yes.
in your space.
Yes.
You're fighting to feel validated. You're fighting, you know, you're oversharing because
You, yeah.
you want to keep the
grab them,
person
yeah.
around. You don't want the person to leave, especially if you're the type of person that have dealt with different relationships where persons are just constantly leaving.
Yes.
You understand? So if we're looking at the whole, even as I said again, the parental aspect
Yes.
is that you're now seeking validation from this person. You're now seeking somebody that can pretty much. It's almost like you're now trying to rewrite a chapter.
Fill a
Because
void.
yeah, because it wasn't good with your parents, because it wasn't a certain way with your parents, you're now keeping this person longer than
Yeah.
they should be around
Under unhealthy
to right the
circumstances.
so-called, you know, right the wrongs, because your parents were a certain type. You want
Yeah.
them to see in a certain light and to
Yes.
keep you
Yeah.
around to make you feel safe. You
Yes.
understand what I'm saying? So guys, it's dangerous when you go down that road. And again, you know, when you're courting, single, I'm talking to single persons. When you're
Okay.
courting, when you're getting to know somebody, there are things that you have to reserve for yourself.
Come
And
on
if you're
now.
looking to share that thing, share it when you get to a place where it feels
It's
like,
final.
okay,
They're,
we're
they're
actually,
committed to you.
yeah, we're actually getting somewhere.
It's for better, for worse now.
Yes.
Yeah,
You get
that's
what I'm
true.
saying, guys? Don't pour out that side of you too early, because it
Yeah,
can be detrimental.
to the
It
shaping of the
can
relationship.
it can turn sometimes, and we have to be real. There can be some things where you're saying okay, but it can turn the person off.
Yeah, can turn them on.
You understand? It
Yes.
can, you turn them off or turn them on,
Yeah.
or they can use it to manipulate you.
It's true. It's true.
Something that I like this, I need this.
It's
I've
true.
never,
I've never had this.
when I
Yeah.
was growing up, I wasn't
Love
getting
bomb.
this. And you're just feeling like okay, you're just sharing something
Yeah.
innocent, but they're using that to manipulate you.
Oh
And,
wow.
and you were saying it. A lot of persons get to that phase, and they're now single because the person decides to walk away
Marry someone
and marry
else.
somebody else.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely beautiful. I remember in this TV show where this guy, he saw this girl, homely looking girl at church, and he realized that she was like she passing out a lot at church, and he fell in love with her because her sickness made him look like a savior.
yes,
So he loved the fact that she always passed it out
Savior,
because
savior.
he wants to be this savior complex. So he was using her sickness to pretend like he was in love with her. And so this girl, she felt so honored, and she was saying, wow, I found a man even in my state. And people were wondering, why are you with this person? Because it just never feel right. It never seemed right. And the guy realized that the woman got healed, and the guy got upset. You're not sick anymore? You're not sick. That was what he was attracted to. Something
Yes.
weirdly wired in him wanted to be the savior for this person. And so that's what he wanted. The attraction was not the love of the person. It was really to showcase to others he was a good man. And you know what that is coming from? A lot of times that's childhood bruising, like you're talking about, where your parents probably didn't validate you. And now you're seeking broken people.
Yes.
You're seeking broken people to try to make your shine brighter because oh, I am pouring into this person, but you're not doing it for love. It is being done to glorify your position. That's how you feel validated and get praised. So number two, how do you know that you are falling into emotional promiscuity? The first one was confiding in people like co-worker, a friend, the opposite sex, somebody who you may be attracted to emotionally. Maybe this person is somebody who just listens more than your spouse. They
Yes.
give great advice. They intrigue you intellectually. You just like what you're hearing, like what you're seeing, and you just overshare with them. You confide, and your spouse don't know you're doing it. That is one form. Number two, you're turning to someone else first for emotional support. And that is self explanatory, right? So, like, you have a bad day, and instead of calling your spouse, you call that person because you feel like that person just get you. And it happened to all of us. All of we have somebody who probably will feel like just get we more than our spouse.
Yes.
But we have to be aware. The next one is number three. This one is very, very serious that again many of us fall prey to. Flirtatious banter under the disguise of joking or we're just having fun. So you know some people who just like to make dirty jokes and you go along with it because oh that's just how we roll. But what this is saying is that this is not great conversation for people who are already committed to somebody else. It might put you in a bad spot. And I know, especially for married people, we have a problem with our spouse saying or calling somebody. This is like where it starts from calling your another person babe or beautiful.
Yes.
It just to me that just not sit right. How are you married but then you're addressing somebody else as hey good morning babe or hey good morning beautiful or hello beautiful or yes my dear. For some people their spouse may be just doing it genuinely innocent because that's what they know,
Yes.
that's what they're used to calling people. And I know as far as some people don't put another person in their front seat, their car front is reserved for their spouse. And some people have different boundaries, but can you blame them? Can you blame them? So you have to really cultivate what you want in your marriage. The next one is number 4, engage in an emotionally charged or teasing conversation that spark a connection, it spark a tension, but it is kept hidden from your partner. Your partner don't know you're getting this attention. For example, every time you want to know which country to travel to or what to wear or what color fits your skin tone, you are, messaging that friend like, what do you think would look good on me? Or, yes.
And what you do?
No. Yeah, but I do consult with people who I think are my great close friends.
Okay.
But that spot has to be reserved for the one and only Mr. B.
All right.
All right, so the next one is number 5, creating emotional safety outside of your marriage. Again, this is self-explanatory. Or if you're not married, a partnership where you feel like somebody else knows you better. That person knows you better, and so that person listens to you more than your spouse. And this bond is intentionally being nurtured. Number 6, you're keeping the relationship a secret from your spouse. That's one of the main ways you know that, hey, we may have been overstepping because your spouse don't know we talk like that. All right. Number 7, again, is where you are daydreaming what life would be like with this other person. What if I had married my friend? What if I had married my, longtime bestie? What if I had married my current bestie? And that sounds like a problem because if your spouse is not your best friend, then what are we doing? Right? So daydreaming about what life would be like with somebody else is also a form of, and I'm not saying your mind don't go there, especially if you're having problems in your marriage. It is normal. We can't sit down here and tell you that it's not normal. Sometimes we have challenges in our marriage, and I'm thinking like, okay, what if I had married to somebody who was, okay, more understanding?
Yeah.
Not saying you're not understanding, but when you're in hot waters with your spouse and your mind goes to, okay, if I had this, like there are these things. That's not what I'm talking about. Let's say it's communication problems. Maybe you're saying, what if I had married to a female who just don't argue like you? That is normal. I am talking about where you constantly daydream, like you have this one person who you're attracted to, and this person is like a role model kind of man for you. Or that woman is like a role model kind of woman for you. And you just, oh, you laugh so. Oh, make you laughing like that? Why you
I'm just
smiling?
looking at you. I'm just looking at you laughing. I'm just looking at you.
Okay.
Keep going. Go
Keep
on.
going.
Keep
All
going.
right. So again, you have a role model man, you have a role model woman, and you're just saying, boy, what my life would have been like that. You just always see yourself with that person. There's always see yourself with them. And it's like life in your mind is easy with them. Because that's what your brain does. Your brain is gonna create this safety life for them with you, so that it starts to make you connected to the heart, at the heart, with this person. And over time, you start building emotions, you start building feelings, and your entire body, face, heart get lit up when you're talking to them, or when you hear them calling, or when you hear that, so and so coming, you just get lit up with joy. And then a lot of time you tell yourself, it's nothing. I know nothing. I'm a friend. Yeah, yeah, I'm a friend. So why is this harmful? These situations are harmful, guys, because it creates an emotional distance in your relationship.
Yes.
You may be there, we may be here, and we're not here. We may be, or you may be there and you're not there. So you're in the home geographically, you're present biologically, your human body is there. But at the same time, emotionally, you are somewhere else. Some people go as far as saying, sometimes when they're sleeping with their partner, they're thinking about somebody else.
Mm.
And that's when you know that, oh my God, there is a real connection to somebody else. The next reason is it opens the door to deeper temptation, leading to actual physical infidelity. And as the Bible is saying that if you think in your heart, if you think upon a woman, if a man thinks upon a woman to lust, you've already committed the act. So, number three, it builds emotional dependency
Yes.
on someone else who is not your spouse. In psychology, there is something that we talk about a lot. Nervous system speak to nervous system. Yes, there are people who I know that if my husband and I are in a disagreement, I know who or which friend I can call who my nervous system speaks well with that person's nervous system. Because over the years, over the time, I have found safety in my friends. So I know which ones to say, hey, this one is gonna regulate me, that one gonna say, oh, cause same, or some of your friends will rile you up and some will
Mm.
just be a safe space. Like, hey, Team Christian or Samantha, it's okay. And that person is not your spouse. And over time, what happens is that you always want to go to that person to be regulated because you're seeking that peace. But the truth is, if we're going to do you any good on this platform, we have to teach you how to face the hard days. And that is not with the person who makes you feel good outside your spouse. It is the one who you committed to.
Yes.
It is the one who you committed to. So there are some tools for remedy. Before we go to the tools for remedy, do you have any other point you want to share?
Tools for remedy. I just want to well, I guess
Before
maybe
we go to that, if you have any outside
I
of that.
guess it's oh, okay.
It doesn't matter. You can just
You know
share.
what I can say with this whole thing is that me personally I don't have any female friends. Sad,
Yeah.
I want to say sad to say.
Sometimes it's
Yeah, I
better.
don't have any female friends, guys. And because the devil is out like a roaring lion seeking who he may devour. And I promise you, a lot of times your intentions might be pure. You understand? Your intentions might be pure. But at the same time, you might find yourself in a situation where, um, let's say you have female friends. You find yourself, as we were discussing, you find yourself confiding in that same female. You understand? And that's where boundaries come in. I can't tell a person how to run their show. I just can't tell you my situation. Um, you have to set boundaries. You can have person that you talk to and whatever it is, but there has to be a level of boundary when it comes to that world.
Selection of friends.
You understand? There has to be boundaries. Yes, there has to be boundaries when it comes to that because I promise you, sometimes even that other person can have pure intentions.
Right.
But again, we always say it on this channel, you can't trust your feelings. You can't trust your emotions. You get what I'm saying? No matter how we try, sometimes we try if we try it and we realize, but I don't want to because at the end of the day, we know the outcome. I can't trust myself. I
Oh, so
cannot.
so 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 let's clarify. You don't have any female friends because you have not found great female friends, or you don't
No,
have female
I,
friends
I
because you don't
choose.
have any boundaries.
No, I choose. No, you have to understand. It's almost like this. You as a person that is in your profession, right? And there are male persons around you, right? Your male workers, people that you work with. They can be your friend or they can be your work friend,
Right,
work
right.
people. You understand? Once you draw them in a friend zone, any number can play.
Uh,
Well,
I have male friends,
well, let us say this for a
and
male,
not any number
for
can play for all my male friends. Because I know what number I want to play
yeah,
with
but
my friends.
well, that's it. That is you, guys, men on a whole.
So is it just a man thing or is
No,
just you thing?
I am not going to put it on a male. I think it is both genders. You know.
No, I'm saying in this case, is it just a male thing where males don't like female friends because if they get too close to them, they're not gonna like them?
No, it's not. It's not. I guilty. No one is in my seat,
Dear
guys.
Christian, you know, easy enough. No
Guys,
one in my seat.
guys. Again, you know. Again, it's a lot of times you have persons that try. You know, they talk about, oh, I got this under control, man.
Just
You
speak
know,
your truth. You have
I
to know
got
where you
this
can
under
manage.
control. I got this under control. I got this under control. And then you find yourself in a situation that you're saying, how did I get here?
But do you
You get
think
what I'm
those
saying?
persons are just not emotionally mature, or their boundaries and values have not been matured and cultivated and they're not set? Because everybody should aim to know themselves,
Yes, but
especially
I
if you're
can
saved.
genuinely say this. I can let us genuinely speak. I will speak from this
Okay.
point of view, right? When you are emotionally vulnerable, and how you get to that place of being emotionally vulnerable. When you're in a marriage where you say, okay, this is my forever, this is the person I run to, this is my confidant, this is my
Yeah.
best friend. But at the same time, you find yourself in a situation where that has been broken down, meaning that you just can't communicate no more. Like for whatever the reason is, you find your marriage just
Okay.
deteriorating.
That's a good point. I get that
You
part.
get what I'm saying now?
So when you're in a sticky spot, don't run to bag a friend.
Yeah, so it's easy for you to, you see like what you were taught now? You have persons will talk that way because they're in a good space.
So there's security.
You're secure in what they're in. So, oh, you know, are you feeling like the boundaries haven't set? And have you feel like that this and that?
I will befriend them.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know, you can speak highly.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But when you're at a place where you're trying everything in your marriage to say, okay, please, like let
It's
us work
true.
this out, and this is going left, and the person is doing this, and the person not paying no mind, or whatever
Yeah.
it is, you find yourselves, and this is what you're teaching.
Yeah.
You're
yeah,
finding
yeah.
yourself seeking a safe space.
Yeah. I was given that advice years ago by my counselor at the time.
Yes.
And it was a male counselor, a leader in the church, and they were advising, be very careful how you confide in people, especially if you are going through a hard time. I think we were just married, and I don't think it's like, I think it was like post-marital counseling. And they were sharing, be very careful how you confide in people, or gather friends in moments of challenges when you are married,
Yes.
because that's the time when you become very vulnerable to somebody pacifying what you need.
Yes. So I'm happy that you understand.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so-
Well, I was just saying, like, overall, if you're in a good, secure relationship and you are a secure person in yourself,
Yeah, but your relationship is now a lot of times person fall along the wayside. It's not based on secure. Yeah, I'm not talking about person that are just greedy. You know, you have some men they just want to explore and want to this, you know, this get stale. You know, my marriage gets stale. Me already know the person. We've been together for this, so you're seeking something
Right.
fresh outside. I'm not
So
talking.
you're saying caution is
Yeah, I'm not
your-
talking about that. I'm talking about, you know, being in something that you're fighting for and it just going left and we're arguing this and watch it, you know. And we're arguing this and we're going through that phase. You're now seeking, you know, and a lot of persons they're not always going to be trying to find a male to talk to.
Yeah, yeah.
Sad to say. You know, they want to find something familiar where, you know, a female,
What do you
maybe
mean? Like a man now go find another man?
yeah,
There's
not
a lot
not
of persons.
not
So
not
a man.
yeah, not
Okay.
all the time
a male is gonna find
try to
another
seek out
male.
a male. Yeah,
Okay.
they're trying to find something that they're familiar with when it comes to a female saying this and a female comforting
Yeah.
you and all of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So for me, because I know that, because I understand that dynamic,
Yeah.
because I have been out there, when it comes to my single life and seeing how certain things operate and knowing that, listen, we're in flesh.
Yeah. So
You
your
get?
boundaries well up.
Yeah, so to not deal with that, you stay away from it.
Okay.
So listen,
So
females.
you're not afraid. You're not afraid of friends. You just
Yeah,
have
I'm
a
not.
very
Yeah,
thick
I'm not.
boundary.
Yeah, I just don't want to deal with that because
Okay.
again, the devil will wrap it in a nice package. Wrap it in a nice package. Oh, this is what you want. You say you're not going in your marriage. This is what you want, and it comes so wrapped
Yeah.
nicely,
Regular.
wrapped nicely and put down, and you're like, okay,
Okay.
you understand. So before I
Yeah.
don't want to find out. So I don't want to
Okay.
find out. So I leave that world alone.
Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing that. It's a
Yeah.
very good point. All right. So some tools for remedy, guys. So again, we're not here to just dish out warnings. We are here to offer redemptive tools. If you are in a situation like this, number one, begin to start to talk about everything with your spouse. If you're in a committed relationship and you want to get married, begin to talk about everything, including the things that you really don't think you're getting in your marriage. Just recently, he asked, or you asked me, what were you asking me? What were three things that I don't think I have, or I
When,
don't
when
feel like I
like
have?
last time.
Yeah. What were
Oh,
three things?
you
That was
still
a
struggle.
very
Yeah,
good
you
question.
still struggle with.
What are three things I still struggle with in this marriage?
Yes.
And it made me really think and soul searched. And a part of me, a tiny little part of me was like make up some little things so I don't feel too bad. But no, after a while I thought about it, I was like, I would be a liar to be coming on, first of all, teaching on this platform. Two, trauma healing. I'm very stern with my clients regarding telling the truth. And I would be a liar, not just to people, but to myself, to come and tell him, no, look at something because I don't want him feeling away. Sometimes your spouse's emotions will have to be stepped on. Them have to go feel hurt. For truth, for your relationship to be functioning in health, sometimes the truth will hurt. But it's how you present it, of course. But at the end of the day, it's still gonna hurt. So I told him the truth, and I told him three areas where I believe I was just not feeling, how I want to feel or see what I want to see. And he told me his. And we're not divorced. We're still here because we have to feel to heal. That's the principle of healing. You have to feel to heal. So a lot of times we may make things up. We want it sound cute. We want it sound like, oh, we don't want to crush him feelings. We don't want to bruise him. But dare to rock the boat. Dare to say what's really going on the inside. You're not fulfilled in your relationship. You're not happy. You don't feel validated. You don't feel like he listens. You don't think she listens. You don't think your feelings, your emotions are being respected. You have to say it. You
Yes.
have to say it. So communicate about everything. Communicate about everything. Plan together to communicate, to talk about your emotional starving points. There are some contact points in your life, in your body. Your body are ball out for certain things, and you just not get it. And you have to talk about these spots that feel like they're starved. They're starved, they're not nourished, they're not fed. Talk about it. Talk about it. Number two, be very intentional with boundaries. Set boundaries together as a couple. So for us, one of our boundary is together. So personally, I have my own boundaries. He has his own. If he want them very high, mine because I know what I know. I am very sociable, and again because of my job. But his very high, understandable based on the life he's coming from. For us as a couple, one of ours is no phone calls, not going to take after a certain time unless that person is dying. Unless it's my mother, his parents, my siblings. But outside of that, that phone will ring and 10 o'clock comes, ain't nobody answering that phone because it's not an emergency. And that is just our standard. And we're not going to change that for nobody. Um, Another thing is things like, not sleeping out without your spouse, not eating at people's yard before you come in your house. You come to your home to eat. So those are some little things that we would say, oh, these are our family traditions. What is yours? What are yours? What are the things that you guys say in your relationship that, hey, this is not going to be done? I have friends, like I said, who you cannot sit in certain parts of their vehicle. You can't go certain places in their houses if you and them are not close like that. So, and that is fine. You have to respect people's decisions.
Yes.
What are yours? So, what are some of the things that are yours? The next one is, and back on the boundary thing, the boundaries come really through awareness of what are the problems. What are the things that I need to keep out and what I need to keep in? Because boundaries are also for you. So internal boundaries and then self-awareness. These things help you to set great boundaries. Your core values should be the basis of your boundaries. What are the things that your relationship will not live without? I am sorry, hubby or wifey, but this marriage should not exist without, for example, loyalty or faith or family time. If those are your strong points, then that means your boundaries must secure those things. So sometimes we don't know how to create boundaries. I would just fling boundaries on everything. No, you want to create healthy boundaries. Let it be around the core values. Number 2, for the tools, build intimacy by filling your toolbox. Things like before, we got in 10 years of marriage and whatever, we were told things like ride together to work, drive, take the same vehicle. If you don't drive as yet, ensure you and your partner leave out at the same time. If you can, walk together on the weekends, sit beside each other in church. I know some churches don't really like that, but because they say it's a distraction when husband and wife sit together. But sit together, worship together, pray together. Yeah, you never know. Worship together, go to seminars together, build your toolbox, get little strategies like pillow talks before bed, check-ins in the mornings. How may I be of service? Do you feel loved by me? These are some tools questions like strategy.
Amen.
Amen. And then the next one is have a vision for deeper connection in your marriage. This is where deliberacy, if that's the word, deliberate actions, getting out of autopilot. Psychologists say 97% of the time we're going through the motions. The other 3% is conscious living. So imagine not spending most of your days consciously. That's like a walking dead. So basically the whole world, married people, single people just walking around like a programmed being. That is scary.
Yes.
Intentionally say, I have a vision. Some people don't know what their marriage look like 5 years down the road because they've never envisioned it. They've never sat down to say, with this man I have, with this woman I have, I see us XYZ. You know why that's important? Psychologically, your brain needs an object to go after.
Yes.
It needs a mental picture to know, like AI, loading, creating the graphics for you. Conquer this graphic that I see conjured in the mind. The vision of the mind, the mind's eye must see you and your spouse. And that is why people who are dating, sometimes you ask a little man who you're dating, okay, where you see us in 5 years, man can't tell you.
He can't even see where him
Him can't even see where him see himself because he's not activated that part. He's still in the present. And the present is fine, at least it's not in the past. But at the same time, where is your activation of futuristic goals? Because you know what? When you hear somebody talk about a future for you, that means they don't see you separating. Sometimes it jolts me in my stomach. We've been married for 14 years this next month. And sometimes, even today, he said something about, you were talking about something about, and when the kids get old and gone, and we build this for you and I, like, when we get old, and that just jumped, something just jumped in me, like something moved in me. Something of security and assurance, because it wasn't a like if we make it or if God's willing. It wasn't like that. It was this assurance. He was talking so passionately. It almost like he's just going, he's not even thinking about it. But the assurity gave me surety. So you want to hear that. You need to hear those things. You need to talk about those things. Down the road, something like, what's happening? What is happening with that? So those are, I have some more, but we're going to stop now because we're kind of running out of time. But those are the redemptive tools that we have. And also, there's a psychological tip that if you see yourself being tempted with someone, first of all, destroy the soul ties spiritually. Pray against it. Pray about it. Fast about it. Call the person name. Lord, my entire being is connected to this person. I like this person. Jesus wants to be your friend. Tell him that you like somebody else outside of your spouse. Tell him that you yearn for somebody outside of your spouse. You desire somebody outside of your spouse. You want to talk to this person. This person is your safety zone. You will even bawl because you don't hear them call you. You have to be honest and then ask the Lord to break it, to cut it, because for the greater good of your marriage, it has to be dissolved. That silver cord have a cut. Cut the connection, cut the lifeline. And a psychological tip or a counseling tip is stay out of connection or availability with that person for at least 3 months. That will rid your system of whatever trace there is to want to always talk to them. 3 to 6 months is advised to get intertwined with your spouse, and after 6 months you reevaluate, and that's where it would be good to get like a counselor to help you and your spouse rebuild what was lost. So God bless you guys. That is where I end for
Yes.
tonight.
You see, that's why I don't even want to deal with all that. Pray and ask the Lord.
Is it a whole heap of undoing
What
now?
you undoing, guys?
It hurts, you know? It hurts.
What you undoing?
It
That's why I
hurts.
say, guys, no, I don't want a plan B. I don't want a plan B. I don't want a plan C. It helps because at the end of the day, any situation that you're in terms of your marriage, you're now focused on the
Yeah.
person that you're dealing with, the person that you're in the marriage with. You're fighting to fix it
Yeah.
with that person. When you know you have a plan B,
You're
you're,
not
you're
fight.
in no rush.
You're not rush to fix nothing.
You understand? You guys have an argument. You're not in any rush. Makes you go and feel some type of way because you have an
Urgency.
outlet. You have an outlet.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? You have an outlet, guys. As human beings, we like newness.
It's true.
We like freshness. We like new beginnings. That is how we are programmed. That is how we are wired. And so, being in a marriage for 10, 15 years, 9 years, being with that one person, you have to be careful in these moments whenever you are going through any situations or whatever it is. You have to be careful. Because if you're not careful, your body's not going to be saying to you, I want something new. Even if
true.
it's not coming out straightforward,
Yeah.
you're looking to say, man, what if?
Yeah.
You know, the
yeah.
what if this, and if you're not careful, you're not entertaining that. You understand? It's one thing when something pop in your mind and it goes.
It goes,
Okay, you're back to reality. But once you're starting to entertain that,
Yeah.
now it takes shape in your mind.
It's an
In your
attraction.
mind, it takes form, and that will now be your struggle. You're fighting back and forth, back and forth, back
Yeah.
and forth. And now, listen, who wins? Which one is going to win? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So remove all of the plan B's and the plan C's and let it be about you and your spouse. You might have a
Yeah.
family member or,
Yeah, that different.
people in your
We
church,
still
a
need
spiritual
boundary.
leader or a brother that, can speak into your life or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, let it be between you and your partner.
Yeah.
Again,
It's a hard decision
the
to let
body like
go.
newness, it likes fresh.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is the person that the Lord gave you.
Yeah.
Not to fight it out
Yeah.
in the civil way, in the godly way.
Emotionally.
You understand, guys? So
Yeah.
no plan B's or no plan
Yeah.
C's. Anything that
If
you're
you have to
sharing, share it with your
cry,
partner. Cry with your
cry.
partner.
If you have to cry for after that, cry it out.
You get
Tell
what
the
I'm
Lord that
saying?
it hurts you,
Yeah.
it break your heart. You have to let them go, but it's best
It
for your
doesn't. You don't
marriage.
even have to start. You understand?
If you have started,
You don't
if you
have to
have
start.
somebody who you are connected to,
Single people again. You're courting. You can't share and
yeah,
overshare and all that type of stuff. You're in this. Let it be from a godly mindset.
yeah,
Because once you let your guard down, I promise you, you're going to find yourself at a place where you're saying, "Listen, I never expected to be here." It's like that. So you
amen.
have to be careful how you're sharing, how you're expressing yourself. You have to be careful. And again, we encourage healing.
Yes,
Healing, healing, healing. If you know you're going through something internally, whether it's a imprint from your past, from
yeah,
childhood, you have to deal with that before you decide in going out, in
yes,
launching out to court and to get to know people because
yeah,
it can be used against you.
yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It can be used against you, and
It's true.
you're going to find yourself hopscotching from one to another,
To rebuild that safety
seeking.
back.
You're not seeking somebody. Okay, getting to know. You're
Yeah,
now seeking. What we call it, trauma
yeah,
bonding.
yeah, yeah. Rebound, that kind of rebound feeling.
You understand? You're now going to be trauma bonding.
Yeah,
One person after one person, and after 2 3 weeks, oh, I am in love. That's not love. That's just an emotional attachment.
yeah.
That's just an emotional attachment. You get what I'm saying? So listen.
Redemption is
Yes,
here.
yes, yes, yes,
It
yes.
doesn't have to end on a sad note. We are here to do the right things, the hard things
Yes.
at times, but we're here to do the right things. All right. So, for those of you who are in Jamaica, how can we leave without reminding you about this? Please go ahead and register. I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. We will be coming to you in May next month, guys. Can you imagine?
My God.
The seminar is almost here. Excuse me. And it is May 31st at the Terra Nova All Suites Hotel under the theme From Hurt to Healing. And we will be there from 10 to 3 to teach you with expert speakers on how to move from a place of hurt to healing. So, looking forward to seeing you. Click the link for more information, and God bless you. Bye bye.
Great night, guys.